Hello there, people of the internet. My name is Oduor Jagero, and this is Political Headache. Today we are talking Tanzania, we are talking Kenya, we are talking the politics that is going on around the East African nations. We have a problem, we have always had a problem in Uganda because Uganda does not allow opposition to march. They do not allow them to talk. Even if they talk, after talking, you will see fire. The same is happening in Rwanda. Virtually no political conversation going on there. Tanzania was very good during Jakaya Kikwete's time. You know, it slid into the gutter when the gentleman took over. What was his name?
The one who died?
The one who died, yeah.
Magufuli,
yeah. And then I think the vice president at the time was seeing all the things that he was doing and has picked from where he left.
Yeah.
And then we have Kenya. Kenya is always a vibrant democratic space.
Yes.
You get kidnapped, you go back to the streets, you yap more, you go back to the gutter, you yap more. But that is what I love about this country, because this country, they can allow you to say, okay, Ruto, we need you to rule this country properly.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
You can do that in Kenya. I don't think you can do that in Tanzania. I remember Munishi. Munishi talked about CCM. Remember that song? Women went to prison for playing that song.
Oh, really?
Yes, in their shops. Malebo or Munishi.
Nakuita Malebo uje kwa Yesu utubu.
Yeah.
Come and
he's a very sexist.
Come and repent.
Do you know he's a very sexist musician?
Oh, is he?
He is. You've not heard his songs? Very sexist.
Oh.
Telling women to beba nyundo. You have not heard that song? Enda ukaban bricks.
I think I was too young when his songs were nini.
Yeah, his song. There is a song is very sexist. There is a song in Malebo.
Was he always giving women advice?
No, but he's just a man in Africa, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Banding women together with children.
Oh, yeah. Right.
So now let's talk about Kenya hitting Tanzanians hitting Kenya. Yesterday I was with a gentleman at a studio in Hurlingham, and he was telling me that when Magufuli became president, he had to leave Tanzania in a half.
Yeah.
Because he was a filmmaker in Tanzania, and they were rounding up Kenyans and arresting them arbitrarily, and either deporting them or imprisoning them if they did not have the legal papers. You know, and what happened to us being East Africans and being
the East African community?
Yeah, and so he came back to Kenya with only his bag, because he was in Tanga and he lives in Dar es Salaam, and he was called by the immigration officer that we want to talk. Are you around? And he knew that things were bad because his neighbor had seen the same police officers coming to his house and finding it locked. And so they had to take off. He had to take off from Tanga direct to Kenya, leaving all his stuff in Dar es Salaam, and he never recovered them. He tells me yesterday that he had to sell them off at a throwaway price to his friends around.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't able to live and work in Tanzania.
Yeah.
And I have never liked Tanzania.
Why not?
Because I think one of the worst places for me as a Kenyan is Dar es Salaam. Dar es Salaam is my worst city.
How
I
come?
was treated very badly there as a Kenyan.
Oh, how
come? We Mkenya beba mzigo wako in a hotel.
Ulikuwa umebeba nini?
Si nilikuwa nimebeba hizi bags. They're supposed to take them.
Oh, you were traveling?
Yeah. Akaniambia we Mkenya beba mzigo yako. Well, they are, you know, taking care of the white men.
Yeah.
And basically crossing the border in Namanga is not an easy thing for Kenyans. You are faced, you are asked a lot of questions. There are so many stops between Namanga border and Arusha.
And Arusha, it's crazy.
So many stops.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And you go into Tanzania, you are always looking behind your back because these people just don't like Kenyans. And they say that Kenyans are rude, Kenyans are aggressive, and Kenyans, if you shake hands with a Kenyan, then you must count your fingers once you've withdrawn your hand.
They might live with your fingers.
Yeah, and pocket it. What do you know about Tanzania, Agi? Do you know anything about Tanzania?
Yes,
because we are going, people of the internet, we are going to be talking about whether Kenyan lawyers or Kenyan political activists have the right to cross the border into Tanzania and agitate in Tanzania. That's what we are going to be talking about.
Yes.
And we are also going to be talking about the opposition leader in Tanzania. What is going on there? Do you know anything about him?
Yes.
Okay. So what do you know about
Tanzania? I mean, my brother lived in Tanzania for a significant portion of his life. He's since moved back to Kenya, and he moved during Magufuli time, actually.
Right.
Not because he didn't have papers, but because it was just hard to be there as a Kenyan. And so they just decided to come back. Him and his family had lived there for probably 7 years. So I visited them a number of times. And I remember one of the times when I realized that this is a thing was when my older brother and I decided to drive down using his car. And his car is a KC something. And Kenyan. So when they see that K, they stopped us so many times.
Really?
Yes. Because my brother lived in Arusha. Between Namanga and Arusha, it's not even 200 kilometers. Yeah. It's such a short distance.
I think it's about 140 something.
And they're stopping us at every single stop. Hey, we Mkenya, unaenda wapi? Sijui what.
Were you guys coming back to the country?
We were going.
Oh, to Tanzania.
Going and coming back. Now coming back now we were even stopped and fined. Yeah, because apparently one of the lights was not working, or what happened. I don't remember the story well, but we were stopped and we were fined. We were being stopped so many times. Other cars are just passing like this, but our car is just there.
Flag down.
They check all your papers. And I was like, this is so strange. So when we were there, in fact, the idea was that we were going to move around a little bit, visit, travel around Arusha a little bit, see the place, and then come back home, because we were coming back home with my brother, my brother who lives there. We couldn't use the car.
Yeah.
We did it one day. We were like, it's okay. Let's just hire a Tanzanian car with a Tanzanian driver. And that's how we were able to travel around Arusha. I was like, what is this? We've not done anything. We had all our papers. We had passed through the border legally. We got insurance for the car, all of those things that they require at the border. We did everything. We had yellow fever. Why are they still asking people for yellow fever?
What is yellow fever, by the way?
I don't know. It's a yellow card.
Have you ever heard of somebody suffering from yellow fever?
No.
It's like polio. It's long gone, correct?
Yeah. And I had the old yellow fever card. They forced me to get a new one. Do you know that they were doing like at phasing out the old ones and then giving you a new one at
Kenya?
The border?
Oh, they give you a new yellow fever.
A new yellow fever.
But on the Kenyan side or on the Tanzanian side?
On the Tanzanian side. Was it on the Kenyan side? It was on the Tanzanian side. So I was like, so my yellow fever is expired. What does that mean? I'm going to infect people with yellow fever. So they made me pay money to get a new card without new medication or anything. It's not like I was going to let them give me medication, but like you're paying for the card.
Yeah. Which
does not make any sense.
Does not make any sense at all.
So it was really bad. So and my brother, before Magufuli came to power, had been working there and living there, and they had such a vibrant community, which just disintegrated within like a period of probably 2 years. Everybody left. People went to different countries. Others went abroad to the West. He came back home. Like people left. Like their community kind of just disintegrated. Because the living conditions there for Kenyans were, and they were legal. They were legally living and working there. So
I would rate Tanzania as the worst country for a Kenyan to be at.
Do you think so?
Yeah, it's the worst country in Africa. Yeah, because they hate our guts. They always think of us as English-speaking people that wenye wanajifanya and things like that. And who told them not to go to school? I don't understand. I mean, English is free. You can even go to YouTube and learn English. Why are they so poor in English, by the way?
But it's not about English. Because
I think that is one of the reasons why Tanzanians just hate Kenyans, because we can speak good English. And why can't Tanzanians speak English? Are they not Bantus? Bantus should be able to speak English, right? Why even this top musician, He can't learn English?
Diamond.
Yeah. He's always speaking in some Gujarat. I mean, every time and again, and hoping that people will understand it. But I don't understand it. So, my favorite country in East Africa is Uganda.
You like Uganda?
Oof. Uganda is my favorite country in East Africa because they just love Kenyans.
Is that second to Kenya?
Kenya is my country. How do I love my country?
Yeah, you can love your country.
I have nothing I love about Kenya. the only thing I like about Kenya. Oh, I love Kenya. Actually.
You love Kenya.
I love Kenya actually. Actually, Kenya is a very progressive country.
Yes.
In so many ways. First
so
of all,
many ways.
there is internet in Kenya. Kenya is a place where even though it can sometimes be very bad politically.
Yes.
But Kenya is one of the robust democratic spaces, I think, in Africa.
Yes.
Probably number one, I would say.
We are very high up there.
Yeah, I think probably number one. And then the fact that Kenya, you can always, if you work hard, you can get something to do, and it's always vibrant, and it's not dusty like these other African countries. If you go to Liberia, it's just a village.
Yeah.
You go to, where Sierra Leone, Zambia, there is no electricity. Malawi, there is no electricity. They're just shitty countries around us,
Someone asked, I saw a video of someone asking, let's talk about Africa.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this quiet, random country in the middle called Chad. What happens in Chad?
It's so dry.
It
is so dry.
Yeah.
Like the last time I was in Zambia, there was no power. They promised 4 hours in a day. I was there and I never saw power.
Really?
Yeah, I was there for 3 days. There was no power. I went to Malawi International Airport. It looked like a restaurant on Wanyero. The food was not there.
This is why they don't like you Kenyans. Muna kuja kwao muna waongelesha vibaya, alafu mnataka wawapende.
And even South Africa hates our guts like that. South Africa hates our guts.
No, I think South Africans are more like, okay, we see you. Because I think South Africa plays there. South Africa, Nigeria, they play there with us.
Yeah, so Uganda, you can go there and be there for as long as you want. Nobody is going to touch you. You're going to drive a Kenyan car. Nobody's going to
disturbing you.
You're going to have a time of your life in Uganda.
I was speaking to someone. I'm half Ugandan, so you know where my loyalties lie. With Uganda. I love Uganda.
You love Uganda?
I do. I love Uganda. I wouldn't say like you were saying like it's your favorite, but I'm like, yeah, I love it. It's my motherland. A friend of mine a colleague was telling me he was getting some consultants in Uganda to help him do some work.
Yeah.
And then he said, Agi, Uganda doesn't get as much flack for being corrupt. But these people are corrupt. They're very corrupt.
I think I understand why
it goes under the radar. Like when you're going there, you think these people are just okay. You'll do good business.
I have a reason why I think they don't get a lot of flack.
They don't get a lot of flack.
I have a reason. I think I know why they don't get a lot of flack.
Why not?
Because Uganda is a very wealthy nation agriculturally.
They are.
And there is a lot of food in Uganda.
Yes.
And those people do not go hungry.
No.
It is one thing to be corrupt and you have people are well fed and farting in the streets. And another story altogether, when you are corrupt and people in Turkana are sleeping hungry. It's a different kind conversation altogether.
Yeah. I mean, Ugandans are happy. They're just happy people because they have a lot of food. They're always getting married. They're having all the children. Like, it's a lot. Because all your children will be fed.
Everywhere you turn to in Uganda, they're frying something.
Yes, they're frying, they're roasting, they're cooking. Kenyans, like right now, the conversation around like children, for example, is like, oh my God, watoto wako watalala njaa, hawakuji na sahani yao. Ugandans have never had to have that conversation. No. You'll have all your 8 children and they'll be well fed out from behind your house. Bananas. Because you have bananas just growing behind your house. Randomly, no one is claiming them. The government is not taking them. You'll have, one of my relatives bought a piece of land in some village, came with coffee, bananas, passion, sijui what. I was like, what is happening? Kwani, why did this person sell this? Were they not Were they not farming? I was like, no, they were not farming.
In Kampala, people like us can buy land and build.
And build.
I have people, my friends who I have worked with for a long time over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
They all have beautiful homes in Kampala, Uganda. Try having a home in this city. First of all, you're going to pay them the money and the land is not going to be on your name. They're going to steal the money, the land money first. Okay? Then you are probably going to be going to Ngong or on the mountain there and find some. And if you're lucky, get a land there in Ngong, after Ngong town.
Yeah.
All right? And then get something out there in the bushes. And then have your land there from the Maasais, probably they're going to give you. And then you're going to be there in the cold by yourself.
At the end of Ngong.
Yes.
Behind there.
But people in Kampala, they can just out there. They have nice, beautiful
homes,
apartments.
Yeah.
Homes.
Yeah, yeah.
In Kachira. You know a place called Kachira?
I know Kachira.
You know Kachira? Yeah, my friend has got a beautiful home there.
I have relatives and friends of relatives who they're not well off. Yeah. They're not actually like living the life. Yeah. They're simple people, but they have beautiful homes with kitchen gardens.
I'm
like,
I love Rwanda for them.
And then they don't have fences.
That scares the hell out of me every day. That scares the hell out of me.
Because they just
they have
leave.
picket fences.
Yeah. It's like a small thing like this. You can't even go over it like
Kenyans,
this.
you build a house and you have got to build another
house, another
walls and walls and walls. I like Rwanda.
You love Rwanda?
They have a lot of decency around them.
Yes.
Especially their government. If you're legally there, they won't trouble you. If you don't meddle in their affairs, they won't trouble you. You can walk anywhere in that country at any time. Yeah. I think they have the lowest murder rate in
they do?
Yeah, in Africa.
Good. Yeah.
Basically, I mean, you know that if you kill somebody in Rwanda, you're going to prison. There is no any other place. Where will you go?
Where will you go? We don't have room for you.
Where will you go? And the Nyumba Kumi is working so perfectly.
Yeah.
You know, remember the Nyumba Kumi that Uhuru tried?
Yes.
It works there so perfectly.
Yes.
So I have never understood why Tanzanians hate Kenyans' guts. Yeah. There are people who were there before, like this lady's father, Professor Joseph Ngala, was in Tanzania when it was a very good place for Kenyans, for anybody. Those days that they waleshikana like East Africans or like Africans.
The East African community.
But right now, so now let's talk about the opposition leader.
Opposition leader is who?
In Tanzania.
Oh, Tundu Lissu. Yes.
So now he wants to become president.
Yes.
And Tanzania has got how many terms? This lady won an election.
2.
She inherited the other Magufuli
inherited
government. And then now...
See, now she's fighting. She doesn't want opposition. I guess she doesn't appreciate opposition. So Tundu Lissu has had a court case forever.
What is the charge?
I'm not actually sure what he's being charged on, but let me check.
Treason.
Yeah, it's just those things. Charges right now. Let's see. Yeah, he's being charged with treason actually. Yeah.
What has he done?
So they're saying that he 2 cases: publication of false information online.
Okay. Those are Twitter. Those are X and Facebook posts.
Yes. Okay. So which they're saying has a possible death sentence in Tanzania. I'm like, we're doing too much. And then he has a cybercrime case.
He hacked emails?
No.
What did he do?
He was rearrested because he refused to show up in his hearings.
He should show up in his hearings. That is the law.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, he's being charged with treason and false information online and cybercrime. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And content that he has published on YouTube as well. It's very convoluted because it's not directly that like he did X, Y, and Z. It's very subjective.
So it is basically just weaponizing the courts and weaponizing the courts.
Yeah.
The justice system in
Yeah.
Tanzania.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think like it's a very concerted effort, especially for a place like Tanzania where
do you think it is what they are doing to Natembeya? Do you think Natembeya is what do you think about Natembeya's case? The governor.
Yeah.
Who is in court for corruption?
I don't know if it's the same. Is it the same?
Is it not government persecution because he's against the government? And they are thinking, why are you disturbing us? And we know that you are probably corrupt. Maybe Natembeya should be in prison for being corrupt.
Yeah, but so do a lot of politicians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one is...
So every time... So actually, these days, like, every time I see them start to, like hound one of theirs like that, it's always in-house fighting. Because we all know it's not because they are corrupt. Because even you're corrupt. The one who you're pointing your fingers, you're corrupt yourself. This crop of political leaders, they are all corrupt. All of them. And the system lends itself to that. So much so that everyone who wants to get into leadership and claims that, you don't even claim that you will not be corrupt because it's almost expected of you that when you get in there, you're going to be corrupt. So every time now they start saying, oh, no, this one actually we have to charge him in court because he is corrupt. Suddenly, he's started becoming corrupt now.
What do you think about that? Do you think that if somebody is corrupt, they should not go to court? Because now they are going to court is because of something else other than this corruption.
They should go to court.
Yeah.
They should go to court. The only thing is that it always feels like it's only dissenting voices. So I don't know what problem that is solving.
Is it? Don't you think it is good if it is even if it is dissenting voices? Because I would think that it is the corrupt people should be in court, especially people who are stealing so much money from the people.
Yeah.
They should be in court, even if the reason why they are in court is because they are dissenting.
Yeah.
Does it matter if they're dissenting at this point? Because I think it is. Or perhaps other governors will see that this one is not actually in court because of corruption. They'll see through the bullshit. Do you think that is the case?
It's very layered, right? Because here we are talking about two or even three or all the arms of the government. We are talking about the legislature. We are talking about the judiciary and the executive. And who gives orders for court cases that are supposed to be moved quickly? Because we know our judicial process has been compromised. Our judiciary is deeply compromised.
Right
our judicial system doesn't work.
In Kenya?
Yes.
Why do you say that? That's a bit dramatic.
Because of all of the backlog of cases and how many people even dread having a case with the courts because you know how stressful it's going to be, how much money you're going to have to cough out with or without a lawyer. First of all, if you have a lawyer, you're even like hapo mahali. But a lot of Kenyans can't even afford a lawyer. Public prosecutors wako na how many court cases that they can't even take on. Like they don't have capacity. They don't have capacity to do the work that they're supposed to do. Our courts have been compromised. So every time, like, we see them working well, they only work well when there is a politician that's supposed to be impeached or that has a case, which means that at that point, someone else is intervening and making the courts apparently work. So the problem is very layered and very deep-rooted. If courts were working independently and they were working with the sovereignty that they ought, then that would be the case all across the country because it would be a matter of principle. If there's a case, every case deserves fair hearing. Every case deserves fair judgment. It deserves a judge that is uncompromised to listen to the case, weigh the merit, make a decision. Every case. But how many Kenyans cry foul after leaving the courts? Because somebody who they were accusing of doing something against them had more money than them and then went ahead in that process and,
It's very interesting you're talking about this because I was just listening to a true crime the other day. And you remember the case in KCB, Thika?
Oh, yeah.
I was researching the other day and I realized that case went moot. Like, those boys is just having the best time of their life right now.
Really?
Yes, they never went to prison. They never went to prison. That case died in court.
Why? Because they had money to pay, or what?
Maybe the government just couldn't figure out how to prosecute them because they had lawyers, very tough lawyers, and they were being asked serious questions. They couldn't. They had no CCTV to place those boys at the vault. They had nothing. So
now they're just living their best lives, retired.
Yeah, but they had nothing. They couldn't place those boys anywhere at the crime.
Also, they didn't actually commit the crime? What are you saying? They were not at the crime scene, which means they didn't commit the crime?
Do you remember the OJ case? If it can't fit, you must acquit.
You must acquit.
You don't remember that one?
No.
The prosecutor did a very stupid thing by going and picking a glove that had sun-dried, that have shrunk, and decided to try and saying in court that was O.J. Simpson's glove that he used for the murder.
But it was too small.
Then the prosecution does the blunder of their lives, telling O.J. to try fitting the glove. The glove had sun-dried. The glove had shrunk. It was years. O.J.'s fingers had grown taller. Okay. And it was kept in where they keep the exhibits, the evidence in the courtroom. It had shrunk. It had become small. And then in the courtroom, O.J. had gloves. They decided to fit the glove on top of the glove of the gloves.
It didn't fit.
Yeah, if you can't fit,
you must acquit.
If you didn't see us taking the dollars,
you must acquit.
You must acquit.
So this was just did they disappear the evidence?
Yeah.
Because was the evidence disappeared? Did someone?
Which evidence?
So there was no evidence.
Even when they went to the house where the money was kept, they were not there.
That's what kind of law is that?
Which law?
So we are saying a crime actually happened.
Yes.
Money is lost.
Yes, 53 million
is lost.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
We have some. What are they called? Some accused people.
Yes. 3 of them. 2 brothers and a friend.
We have them, right? There's a story around how they are involved in this case.
Yes, they barreled a tunnel.
Yes,
130 centimeters, I think.
Yeah,
under the shops into the vault. Yes.
All right, sawa. So now we are trying to place them at the crime scene. We can't place them at the crime scene.
You can't.
All right.
You did not arrest them with the money.
We didn't, and then also the money is not anywhere.
They got the money, 17 million of it.
They got it where?
They got it in an apartment.
Belonging to these boys?
They were not there.
The boys were not there?
Yes.
So who is the owner of this apartment?
They did not even, the person whose name is on the apartment as the renter was not them. They asked a lady to go and rent it for them.
Also, and the lady was not there.
The lady was there.
So why were they not? Why were they acquitted?
If you say that these are the boys that told me to rent this apartment and they say no, the case is moot. How do you prove that we told you to rent it?
And then also we don't have enough to arrest you, the person with the house.
Yeah.
But you're an accessory to a crime, no?
Who?
The lady.
The lady was arrested, but why do you take her?
There's nothing that can be done.
Do you arrest people for having money?
For having money that they cannot explain where they got it from.
Is that a crime? If I get you right now with 10 million, if you can't explain, if you refuse to explain where you've gotten it, we arrest you.
Refuse or can't? There's no trail.
Yeah, they can't see. I mean, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you say that somebody gave me this money, what do you say?
Sawa, if somebody gave you, see, utuambie ni nani alikupe.
See, they said the boys.
The accused.
Yes.
The law is so strange.
It is strange.
The law is such a strange thing.
The law is trying to protect people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody is innocent until
proven guilty.
That line fucks up with prosecutors' heads.
Yeah. It must be tough.
It must be tough. And like you've said, I mean, if it was 53 million, the cops claim that they only got 17. Where were the rest?
Yeah.
Somebody wanted to go to coast. I mean,
do you need 53 million to go to coast?
It's not like
I thought you only need.
It's not like we took it from Aggie. This is from a vault in a bank. No blood was shed.
We recognize game. This is game.
No blood was shed.
But it's okay. So they were acquitted.
So what were we talking about before that? We went around the block.
We were talking about.
The corrupt police, the corrupt governors.
The corrupt governors.
Yeah.
And whether a governor being accused. Most likely the accusations are true, because when you're accused by your brother, it's most likely true. Most likely, right? So you play the game, you're in the circles together, then suddenly it's like, huyu lakini anakuanga corrupt.
Yeah.
When all of us know all of you are corrupt, because two people don't work together unless they agree.
They weaponize the corruption department.
And then they weaponize it,
yeah.
And then they take you to the court. And then now the court can do its job.
Yeah. But also sometimes they can't even prove it that you're corrupt.
But they don't have to. They don't have to.
Yeah, they don't have to.
Because if they want to get you out.
No, I think what they are doing is putting the courts in a very bad position.
Our courts are in a bad state. Completely. Not just in the way that they act, but it's also because courts and citizens have to have a trust relationship. I have to trust that when I go to the court and I have a complaint and I have an issue that I want to raise because someone has done me wrong, someone has stolen my money, someone has done X, whatever it is that they have done to me, I have to trust that when I walk to the court, I'm going to get fair hearing. I'm going to get fair audience.
But mostly they do.
But no.
I think a big percentage of people get love in court.
Get love in court.
That's just a
phrase.
Yeah. They get a hearing.
No. Especially if you are going up against a peer, probably. If you're going up against someone more powerful than you, and in this case we talk about financial power, you're not going to get a fair hearing. Yeah. If you're accusing your landlord of something.
Let's talk about Boniface Mwangi. Let's talk about Martha Karua, and let's talk about Agathe from Uganda that, according to the Tanzanian government, was snooping around trying to create trouble.
Wamekosa nidhamu, hivyo ndio walisema. Viumbe visivyo na nidhamu.
Viumbe visivyo na nidhamu. That is funny. Viumbe visivyo na nidhamu.
Yeah. And I don't understand why they talk. I don't understand why.
Let's put our emotions aside.
Okay.
And ask the question.
Yes.
If we are having a problem in Canada, or we are having a problem in Germany, do we get lawyers from, let's say we are having a problem in Germany, do we get lawyers from Poland? Or do we get lawyers from Austria? Or do we get lawyers from everywhere else to go and help, try the case? What really happens? So the exact question I'm asking is, why is it necessary for Martha Karua? Why is it necessary for, why is it necessary for Martha Karua and Boniface Mwangi and other Kenyan lawyers to go and defend Kizza Besigye in Uganda? Why is it that Martha Karua and Agathe from Uganda are going to defend the opposition leader in Uganda? What is going on?
I wouldn't say that it is necessary. I don't even know that is where we start. But I have to think that if you get to the point as a leader of an opposition in a country where there is effectively no opposition, or there effectively shouldn't be an opposition, I would presume that a lot of the lawyers and the people in that world would not want to touch your case if they want to be safe because the government is against you. So it's something that we see even here. It's like some people don't touch certain cases, not because they can't try them, not because they don't have the know-how to fairly represent the client, but because it's a case that touches too close to the government. So mimi sitaguza, I won't be involved. Because I have to believe that if you're in such a situation, you want the best possible representation. And if the best possible representation comes from across the border for a region that purports to have an East African community, then why not? If they're following the law, if they're qualified, if they're able to represent you at a qualified level, what is the problem with that?
Do we know if, for example, because I'm thinking that we are talking about two cases here, because it is the same Martha Karua and it is the same Boniface Mwangi that quickly took planes to Kampala to help with the court case of Kizza Besigye.
Yeah.
Okay. They also did that to the other young opposition leader,
Nani.
the former musician.
Yeah, the musician. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we know whether there were lawyers in the country that actually refused to represent them? Do we know?
We don't know that for a fact, but we have this to go on, that when these people find themselves in trouble, they have to make a call. When you find yourself in trouble, you have to make a call. And all of these people have a what is it called? They have a something tying them to each other. They have a camaraderie, right? If you've been in opposition, if you've been a part of the opposition as long as Boni is, he's an activist, but he has essentially been an opposition to the government for the longest time, then you understand what it is like for your comrades across the border. You understand what it is like to be prosecuted by your government, to be arrested unduly, to be terrorized by your government. You know what that is. So for you to offer camaraderie to your comrades across the, I don't think that's even an issue that needs to be discussed. It's fair. Because even me, when I have troubles, and if only my relative in Uganda can help me, I will call them and they will come and they will help me.
Let's be honest and see through this thing properly. Are you telling me that the brothers of Kizza Besigye are mostly in Kenya?
No.
Are you telling me that the opposition leaders' friends can only be found in Martha Karua and Boniface Mwangi? Do they even know each other? Do they even know each other?
You think they don't know each other?
I'm wondering.
Yes, they do know each other. Yes.
They know each other?
Yeah, you probably have like people in your family, but they're not going to be a public facing.
Do you think it changes anything for Boniface Mwangi to show up in Kampala for the prosecution of Kizza Besigye or the other young politician?
Yes.
Why do I keep forgetting his name?
Nani. The guy who sang the songs. What is his name?
Yeah. Anyway, when we are still... Bobby Wine.
Bobby Wine,
yeah?
Yes.
Correct, Bobby Wine. So now, because my thinking is this.
Yeah, Bobby Wine, yeah.
My thinking is this. If you look at the way Kenyans have always gone hard and aggressively against their governments when they feel that their government has wronged them, the contested presidential election of 2007 and how much the people went after the government, the contested elections of 2013, the contested elections of 2017, correct?
Yeah.
And most recently, the very powerful movement of the Gen Z,
yes,
pouring in the streets and shaking the government of William Ruto. And I think no government has ever been shaken in the history of Kenya like they shook the government, probably in 2007.
Yeah.
It comes closer to 2007, but I think it is more than 2000, what happened in 2007, because even how they got into parliament. And most of these countries around us have actually envied the way we pressure our government.
Yeah.
And I've always thought that we are made of iron and steel.
Steel, yeah.
Like, Ugandans celebrated us on X and on social media.
Yeah.
Tanzanians, I don't know whether they have internet, but they...
You really don't like Tanzania.
They don't do much. They didn't say much. They didn't care.
Work on the internet.
Rwandans also did not, but the Nigerians were
Nigerians, South Africans.
Nigerians were like, whoa, that's what we are talking about.
Yeah.
You
Nigerians
know, even South Africans were talking about it. The entire African continent was talking about it.
Yeah.
So my thinking is, Every time Uganda has a problem, they do not take on the government. They cower, they shrink, and remain in their houses.
Yeah.
2 or 3 people that get out into the Kampala streets, wananyoroshwa.
Kweli.
Kabisa?
Yeah.
And they have always thought that us Kenyans are the ones who know how to take care of the government. My thinking, and you will tell me if I'm wrong, is that tunatumiwa vibaya.
Really?
By the opposition leaders of these 2 countries. They have no cajones. Is that how it is pronounced?
Yeah.
Cojons. They have no cojons. Their people are afraid of their government. Their lawyers are afraid of their government. Their activists are non-existent. So what do? They import activists.
Are they importing activists?
And lawyers. And that's what I think is happening. And I am starting to think about the wisdom of that. Kenya has its own problems right now. Even when Boniface Mwangi and Martha Karua are flying planes into these 2 countries, I don't know on whose budget. Yeah, Kenya is having a problem right now. The abductions have not stopped. People are still being harassed here and there. We have our problems to take care of.
Yeah.
We cannot claim to bite these other problems that we are having. We are not going to be able to chew them. Can Boniface Mwangi chew Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya all together?
But
Can Martha Karua?
But I don't think that's what I think you're missing. The point that I'm trying to say is that they're not going there because they're going to essentially become the opposition on behalf of a country that has no opposition. They're going there in show of solidarity for people that are in the same struggle as them. Solidarity.
To what end?
Solidarity is an end. And wait.
The reason why I'm asking about to what end is that we know that the opposition leader in Tanzania wants to ultimately become a president.
Yes. And
if you are going to offer solidarity, then that agenda has to be on the table too. It is not just about taking him out of the court or quashing the trumped up charges. You have to go all the way. If you want to go there and protect Kizza Besigye, and Kizza Besigye is not going to go out of that court and then sleep at home. He's just going to go into the streets again.
Yeah.
So essentially what you're trying to do is that you are starting a war you can't win. You are starting the war that he has to get out of prison, but also when he gets out of prison or wherever he's being held, he's still going back to the streets. For how long are you going to be with him?
But those are two different fights. The fight for...
But I think they are connected at the hip.
They are connected, but the fight for Kizza Besigye or Tundu Lissu or even Bobi Wine to not be held unduly by the government and their freedoms to be curtailed, that's the fight that I think Boni and Kina Martha are trying to fight. The fight for becoming president, or that road to becoming a president, or that road to essentially ousting the incumbent, is these guys' fight. Because remember, we are always claiming that the East African community is a community. That is why it's called a community. Which means that we are exporting and importing some cultures and some things across each other, between each other. Lakini when you see wanasema nini, ukiona mwenzako ananyolewa sijui nini yako uitie maji. If freedom across upper two kando is not assured, and we know how these governments work, upper two kando, people cannot agitate. Like obviously that poses a serious threat and challenge to you. Because if we are to get into a place where Kenya is requiring intervention, God forbid, who is going to intervene? Who is the first person who is going to intervene? See, it's ideally supposed to be your neighbors. Ideally, in an ideal world. But they don't.
So what is Bobi Wine doing now about his friend Boniface Mwangi being arrested and thrown in a jail in Tanzania? Where is he? What is he doing? Is he not singing?
I don't know. Is he not singing? But I think you.
What has do you as Kizza Besigye written any press release about it? What is the opposition leader doing right now about Boni and Martha Karua being deported? What has he said?
What can he say? See, he's still being arrested.
But he has his people, his office.
So he can make a statement.
Yeah, he can make a statement. Because I honestly think that Boniface Mwangi and Martha Karua and the rest of their ilk could actually do better by taking on these governments across borders on the internet, where they can.
They don't have to go in person.
No.
But why are you not seeing that showing solidarity with your peers is an important thing?
I don't think it is an honest solidarity. I don't think so. I don't think it's.
But because we're in the same fight. We're in the same fight.
You think that the opposition leader in Tanzania is trying to liberate Tanzanians? Is that what you think?
What is he trying to do?
He's a politician.
Yes, he's a politician. But you see, that's a problem. Like, even politicians deserve due process. Even politicians deserve due process. When we give
why should I care when somebody is being dragged through the courts because now he's not? If
you don't care, if you don't care, prepare yourself.
If today, this Suluhu lady gets this guy and says that, you know what, I want you to be my vice president in the next election. You'll be quiet.
And you're conflating two different issues. You're conflating two different issues.
What I'm telling you is that I'm struggling to sympathize
with
these people.
Besigye
was in the bush with the Museveni, treating his wounds and nursing him, and them sharing a wife. What are they doing sharing a wife? I don't know. Why are they even fighting about one wife for the last 40 years? Even his father, even his son, the other day went on public record and said that this woman came into our house and disintegrated our house, and then took off with this idiot. For years, this guy called Museveni was trampling over the rights of the people of Uganda. And Besigye was not saying anything until they disagreed as gentlemen. That is when Besigye turned around and starting saying that our people are suffering. Kizza Besigye is not white as cotton. He's a killer.
There's barely anyone white as cotton in the political sphere, do you think?
He supported the slaughter of people. You know what happened in the outside of Kampala, the war that killed so many women and children just outskirts of Uganda. And Besigye was at the heart of it.
Yeah.
Now he's coming and telling us he loves Ugandans so much. Which Ugandans?
Yeah.
Yeah. So these people, we must be able to see them for who they are.
Which is okay, and I agree with you on that part. But where we are passing each other is, for me, it's very, very important to uphold the freedom of the courts and due process when there are cases. The government has to always follow the law. Otherwise, we are sunken into lawlessness. Kama hao watu, the ones who run around in the political spheres, cannot be assured of due process. What about you and me? Because remember how these people set the tone and the pace for how these arms of the government work. If it becomes normalized that the courts do not ever follow due process, that the courts don't have to follow the law, it will have a trickle-down effect to us. That is the issue. For me, that's the issue. We can't just be arbitrarily arresting people.
Your issue is that the Ugandan courts and the Kenyan courts and the Tanzanian courts should be following.
It is a threat. It's a threat to the judicial process.
But has it been denied any justice in Uganda?
But if you're arbitrarily arrested,
what do you mean by arbitrarily?
You're just arrested. You're arrested, you come out, you're arrested again. You keep being arrested. You're just arrested. You're just the charges brought to court about what you have done are neither here nor there.
Political persecution.
Yeah.
You know the funny thing about the law, I think, is that the courts must listen when the police and the criminal investigators arrest Agiolo. The court cannot say, why have you arrested him before he's brought before the court.
Which is okay.
And then he can get out, and then he will be arrested on another charge, and the courts are bound to listen.
Yes. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I think that when you talk about the courts not being fair, I think sometimes like for example, right now, if they arrest me, the police arrest me and say that I've got bang in my bag, the courts have to listen. I think, does he really have bang? And to be fair, even to the Kenyan courts, remember Uhuru, how frustrated he was with the courts?
Yeah.
The courts really frustrated is.
Yes.
He was really frustrated.
Yeah.
And even Ruto, he has really been frustrated by the court. In fact, he has gone ahead and walked back some of his steps because the courts have just said no to him and said that these things are unconstitutional.
Yeah.
Even Gachagua is still in court. No? he still wants to be vice president. Yeah, so the courts are listening.
The courts are listening, but it's like, for example, like this housing levy was declared unconstitutional by the courts.
But they fixed it. They figured it out.
They reversed it?
They figured it out. I think there is a way they went back and figured it.
Did they stop it?
Whenever they have a problem, they go back and fix. The court always tells them to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Then they go back.
And then they fix it.
And then they fix it. If the court tells them to go back to parliament, they usually go back to parliament.
Yeah. So when somebody...
Or if the attorney general did not certify it, they go back to the attorney general. Because most of the time when they tell the government, when they are taking when they are refusing to assent to what the government is trying to do, they just tell them, go and follow the due process.
Then you follow the due process.
Then they go back and you follow the due process.
And then but nothing changes. Here we are. We are still here.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what I think. I do not see the wisdom of Canadians going to America and facing Trump.
Yeah.
I don't see the wisdom of it. I don't see the wisdom of Polish lawyers trooping into Berlin and trying to be, I don't know what, but probably because those places are working, the court system there is working.
Are working.
But it's still weird that you are going to, and so, but good luck to them.
I mean, Bonin is still in custody.
Who knows?
Yeah, he is still in custody.
And I don't agree for him to be in custody. If they thought that they did not like Boniface Mwangi in Tanzania, the best thing to do and the lawful thing is to do is to deport him. And just like they deported Martha Karua.
Yeah, just deport everybody. Just return them back to their country.
Because what is the charge?
Unlawful, I don't know, they call them unlawful gathering or what? Like random. Unlawful assembly.
Unlawful assembly?
Yeah. You're not supposed to be here and interfering with court processes. Yeah. But did you see our members, our politicians responding to that?
What did they say?
Oh, they are celebrating.
Somebody's doing their job for them.
They are dancing. They are so excited. Finally.
Somebody's doing their job for them.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a surprise that they're celebrating. I don't think it's a surprise that they're celebrating.
And they're saying finya kabisa.
No.
They're telling Samia finya kabisa.
No. But their time will come. I mean people like the former speaker, the ex-speaker. I think you can't be a speaker again still, so you're an ex-speaker.
You're done.
Are you able to be a speaker the second time?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so the ex-speaker was crying the other day in the streets. Yeah. About him being his child being abducted, and Ruto is saying all those things about Ruto.
Yeah.
That Ruto is not a good person, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But hey, this was your friend, we know, for a long time.
They were your friends, yeah.
Yeah.
Enda uongelesha rafiki yako.
Sindio.
Tengeneza maneno.
Sindio.
But it's the thing. So who protects Kenyans? Who protects Kenyans? Because I think
see the courts and the police. Every arm of government is supposed to protect the Kenya. That's the constitution. So why are you asking that question?
Because they are not doing it.
Yeah.
Every time we've seen a random American arrested in a different country for doing something as mundane as that sports girl was arrested for what? Was she carrying? I don't even know what was happening. But there's this lady, she's a sports personality in America. She was arrested, I think, in Russia. The kelele that was made, she had to be returned.
Yeah, but Kenyans also do kelele when their person is arrested.
Yeah, but somebody then at a position of power has to make the call. Because unapiga kelele, unapigia government yako kelele, unamwambia tunataka mtu wetu arudishwe nyumbani.
So you expect that Ruto is to call Suluhu and tell him to bring in Boniface Mwangi?
Yeah, akuja nisumbue. Let him come and disturb me.
Don't make me sleep.
Let him come and disturb me. Wacha akuje huku tupigane.
Oh my goodness.
But don't be arresting my citizens.
I think it is not
in their best interest.
I think,
but that is why Kenyans are always asking, in whose hands are we safe?
There is also a Tanzanian embassy there. What is there? Have we had?
Yeah,
we need to finish this episode because it is done.
Yeah, it is done.
Yeah.
But somebody needs to talk on behalf of Kenyans.
I think that the Tanzanian government, if you're listening, you need to release Boniface Mwangi.
Yes.
Back to his country. You need to release everybody that you are holding.
Yeah.
Do your business. I mean, you are saying that Boniface Mwangi has no business being in Tanzania and meddling in the business. So then bring them home.
Then return him here.
Yeah.
Because even you don't have a business holding him. What are you holding him for?
Yeah. Unlawful assembly. But Suluhu is behaving really badly. What has she done in Tanzania? I wonder.
You saw her motorcade.
I don't see.
It's a huge motorcade. I'm like, what are politicians always afraid of? Many.
Yeah, but you guys say that women can lead better. See what you have there in Tanzania.
Let us end the discussion. Let us end the conversation. It's been lovely.
Even a better leader.
Stop attacking women. No, but it's fair game. She's proving that women can just be as malicious as men, can just be as terrible in governance as men.
She set such a bad example to the women around the world.
Yeah, just like the men. Like Ruto is setting such a bad example to the men around the world.
We're not talking about the men.
Equal opportunity for men and women.
And do another episode. Bye for now.